Have you ever wondered why some men, even though they're already in relationships, can't seem to take their eyes off another woman? Why are they drawn to her so intensely, as if there's something invisible pulling them closer? How can a woman create that kind of powerful emotional attraction? How do you make him desire you, not just for your looks, but for something deeper, more intense? Imagine this. You and he are sitting together, and there's this moment of complete silence, but as you glance at him, you can feel his gaze lingering on you. It's not because you're the only woman around, but in that moment everything else fades away, and it's just you and him. Not because you're the most beautiful woman in the room, not because of your charming words, but because there's something about you that makes him unable to look away. That's the kind of emotional connection you can create. But the question is, how do you trigger that? How do you build a connection so strong without changing who you are? Can just a few casual dates or lighthearted conversations be enough to make him feel that way? Or is there something else you need to do to truly make him crave you? You've probably heard all the usual advice like just be yourself, be confident, or don't overthink it. But does that really help you create a real connection, something that lasts? The answer isn't as simple as it sounds, and I'm about to share with you strategies that actually work to change your relationship with men. Imagine not only attracting him for a moment but making him think about you every day, even when you're not around. Imagine creating a desire so deep that he can't get rid of it, no matter how hard he tries. This isn't a fairy tale. It's a strategy that you can use today in real life. I'm about to reveal secrets that many people won't tell you. These aren't quick tricks or short-term fixes. They are long-term strategies that will help you build a relationship that's not just emotional, but deep and lasting. You can attract him not just with your looks, but with things you might not have even realized. Emotions he secretly craves but can't put into words. Sure, you've heard the typical advice. Take care of yourself, be confident, or don't rely on him too much. But I'm going to take you further than that, beyond those old cliches. What I'm about to share is something that goes beyond what you've heard before. These are the real secrets that will change how you view your relationship with men and, most importantly, help you create a connection that he can't forget. Imagine being the one he thinks about even when you're not there. How do you become the only one he desires? Not just in happy moments, but in the most difficult times too. How do you make him want you not just for fleeting reasons, but for something deeper, something more enduring? This is exactly what I'm about to reveal in this video. These strategies won't just help you understand men better, they'll help you understand yourself better within the relationship. You won't have to wonder anymore how to make him crave you. You'll know exactly what to do to build a connection so deep that no one can break it. So are you ready? I'm going to start with the first steps, strategies you can use right now to make him want you, to make him not just love you but crave you in a way you've never imagined. Stay tuned because the secrets I'm about to share will change how you view your relationships, and you won't want to miss out on a single thing. Are you ready to uncover these strategies? Now that you've sparked his attention, and you've started to build that initial emotional connection, it's time to dig deeper. The next step in creating a lasting bond with a man is respect. And no, this doesn't just mean giving him praise for the things he's already good at, or telling him what he wants to hear. It's about a deep, genuine respect that transcends surface-level admiration. This kind of respect doesn't just make him appreciate you, it makes him crave you on a deeper emotional level. Think about the relationships you admire the most. Whether it's in your personal life or people you know. Have you ever noticed that the strongest, most lasting relationships are built on a foundation of respect? Not just respect for each other's space, time, and choices, but respect for who the other person is on a fundamental human level. This is the kind of respect I'm talking about. It's the kind that's shown not in grand gestures or empty words, but in the quiet ways you acknowledge the man's value and the things that make him who he is. This isn't something that happens overnight. It's built slowly over time, through consistent, heartfelt actions that show you genuinely understand him. You see him not just the man he presents to the world, but the full, authentic person underneath. And when you start to show him that kind of respect, something shifts inside him. He begins to feel truly seen. And when a man feels seen, when he feels understood for who he really is, that's when the emotional connection becomes much stronger. This is the moment where he stops seeing you as just another person in his life, and instead starts seeing you as someone he truly wants to be with. He doesn't just like you. He feels emotionally attached to you, and this attachment is much deeper than simple attraction. Now let's break down exactly how you can show this kind of respect. First, it's important to understand that men, just like women, need to feel valued and understood. They want to know that their feelings matter, that their thoughts are heard, and that they are not just another person you have to tolerate. When you respect a man's feelings, you validate his experience, and that alone can make him feel more connected to you. This doesn't mean that you have to agree with everything he says or does. Respect doesn't require you to always be on the same page or to never disagree. In fact, healthy relationships thrive on differences of opinion. But it does mean that you acknowledge his perspective and treat it with the value it deserves, even if you don't always understand it completely. When you respect a man's mind, you open up a space for him to express himself freely, and that's when real emotional intimacy starts to grow. But here's where it gets really interesting. Respect isn't just about acknowledging his thoughts or feelings. It's also about giving him the space he needs. Space to make mistakes. Space to grow. Space to be imperfect. Too often, relationships fall apart when one partner tries to control or change the other. But the truth is, when you truly respect someone, you allow them the freedom to be themselves, without pressure, without judgment. You let him grow at his own pace, and you trust that he's doing his best. In relationships, especially when it comes to men, respect also involves trusting his decisions and allowing him to lead in areas where he feels competent. This doesn't mean that you're giving up control or your own independence. It simply means that you're showing faith in his ability to make decisions and take action. When you trust a man in this way, it gives him the confidence to act on his feelings toward you in a deeper way. He knows that he can be vulnerable with you, because he trusts that you will not take advantage of his openness. This trust is a powerful foundation that deepens the connection between you two. There's also another side to respect that often goes unspoken, the respect for his boundaries. In order to feel emotionally safe, both partners need to have their boundaries respected, whether they are emotional, physical, or psychological. A man who feels that his boundaries are respected by you is more likely to open up, to become emotionally invested, and to trust you with deeper parts of himself. This respect for boundaries shows that you value him as an individual, not just as someone who is there to fulfill your needs. And let's not forget the importance of showing gratitude. Men often work hard to provide for the people they care about, whether it's through their job, their efforts in the relationship, or their willingness to support you in different ways. A simple thank you, or acknowledging his efforts, goes a long way in deepening your bond. Gratitude is a powerful tool that reinforces respect and creates a space for mutual appreciation. When a man feels that his efforts are recognized, his emotional connection to you will only deepen. But here's the twist. Showing respect doesn't mean that you lose yourself in the process. Respecting a man also means respecting your own needs, desires, and boundaries. A healthy relationship is always a two-way street. When you set the example of respecting yourself, he'll learn to do the same. This mutual respect helps create balance and equality in the relationship, which is essential for long-term emotional connection. So, how does all of this affect his desire for you? Here's the key. When a man feels deeply respected, he starts to see you as someone who truly gets him. You're not just a person in his life. You're someone who truly understands his heart, his mind, and his soul. This kind of respect doesn't just create affection, it builds desire. Because when someone respects you in this way, you start to see them not just as an attractive person, but as someone you need in your life. And here's the magic. When you show him that kind of respect, you make him feel like he can be vulnerable with you. And once vulnerability enters the equation, emotional intimacy deepens, creating an unbreakable bond. Now that you've built the foundation of respect and understanding, there's another powerful force that plays a huge role in deepening a man's desire for you. Confidence. Confidence isn't just about how you walk, talk, or present yourself. It's about how you carry yourself in the world and how you carry yourself in your relationship. A confident woman radiates energy, and that energy is magnetic. It's the kind of magnetism that doesn't rely on trying to impress anyone, but simply being yourself in the most unapologetic way. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever been around someone who just exudes self-assurance? They don't have to be the loudest or the most outspoken person in the room, but their presence is undeniable. There's something about them that commands attention without even trying. They don't seek approval from others because they already know their worth. That kind of confidence is incredibly attractive. Why? Because it signals strength, self-respect, and independence, all of which are qualities that draw people in, especially men. But here's the truth. It's not just about looking confident on the outside. It's about being confident on the inside. Confidence comes from self-acceptance, the ability to love and value yourself just as you are. When you embrace who you are, flaws and all, that's when true confidence starts to shine through. And when a man sees you carrying yourself with that kind of self-assurance, he can't help but be drawn to you. Confidence is attractive because it makes you less reliant on external validation. You're not constantly seeking his approval or waiting for him to affirm your worth. You already know you are worthy of love, respect, and everything you desire. And when a man sees that something powerful happens, he feels compelled to match that energy. A man wants to be with a woman who knows who she is and isn't afraid to show it. It makes him want to step up, to be a better man, to be someone who meets your standards. He starts to see you as an equal partner, not someone he has to fix or protect, but someone he wants to grow with and admire. But how do you cultivate this confidence? It starts with knowing your own worth and refusing to settle for less than you deserve. Don't allow fear of rejection or insecurity to hold you back. When you know you're deserving of a healthy, fulfilling relationship, you stop tolerating behaviors that don't align with that belief. Confidence also means embracing vulnerability. It means not being afraid to show up as your true self, whether that's being goofy, passionate, emotional, or even imperfect. Confidence isn't about being flawless. It's about accepting yourself in your entirety and owning who you are. Imagine walking into a room and feeling completely at ease with yourself. You're not second-guessing your every move. You're not worrying about what people think of you. You're just being you, and that's enough. That kind of energy is intoxicating. It draws people in without you even trying. And when a man sees you walking through life with that kind of quiet confidence, it makes him want to be a part of your world. Here's a key point. Confidence also comes from living authentically. When you stay true to your values, your goals, and your passions, you build a life that aligns with who you are. And when you lead a life that's full of purpose, fulfillment, and authenticity, it naturally attracts others who admire those same qualities. It's a powerful cycle. When you feel good about yourself, you radiate that energy and others are drawn to it. But here's the twist. The most confident women are also the most compassionate. They have a deep understanding of themselves, which makes them more understanding of others. When you show that kind of empathy and kindness while still standing firm in who you are, it's like a beacon of attraction. You're not just a strong woman. You're a woman who uplifts others, who encourages those around her to be their best selves. And that, my dear, is irresistible. When you're confident, you naturally attract respect, admiration, and yes, desire. Because a confident woman is not just someone a man admires. She's someone he wants to be with. And once he sees that confidence in you, it sparks something inside him. He doesn't just want to spend time with you. He wants to invest emotionally in a woman who values herself, who knows her worth, and who will challenge him to be a better version of himself. Confidence is about creating an emotional safe space where both of you can feel secure in who you are, knowing that you bring out the best in each other. It's not about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about being unapologetically you, and allowing him to do the same. The beauty of this dynamic is that when you are both confident and emotionally secure, you become an unstoppable force as a couple. Here's the bottom line. Confidence makes you a woman who is admired, respected, and desired, on a much deeper level than just physical attraction. When a man sees your inner strength and authenticity, it taps into his deepest emotional desires. He doesn't just want to be with you because of how you look or what you bring to the table. He wants to be with you because in your confidence, he sees something he can't resist. A woman who knows her worth and a woman who is capable of creating a deep, lasting emotional connection. So, how does confidence make him desire you more? It's simple. When you know your worth and you refuse to settle, it creates a magnetic force that draws him in emotionally. Confidence isn't just about appearance. It's about presence. And when you possess that, you make him not just want to be with you but to keep you in his life forever. Now that you've established a strong foundation of respect and confidence, it's time to move into deeper waters. This next step is crucial in creating an emotional connection that goes beyond surface-level attraction. To truly make a man desire you, not just for the moment but on a deep emotional level, You need to tap into his hidden desires, the things that he often doesn't even express, the emotions that lie beneath the surface. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine being with him, sitting together in a quiet moment, and the conversation flows effortlessly. You aren't talking about surface-level topics like the weather or the day's events. Instead, you're talking about real, raw emotions. And in this space, you're able to really see him for the first time. You understand what makes him tick, what his deepest fears and desires are, and you know how to speak to those parts of him that he rarely shares with anyone else. This is the emotional space that creates true desire. And the key to unlocking it? Understanding his emotional needs, the things that he might not say out loud, the needs that he's too afraid to express, the things he's never felt safe enough to share. When you tap into these hidden desires, you go beyond the surface attraction and create a deep emotional bond that makes him crave your presence in his life. Here's the truth: men, just like women, have emotional needs that often go unmet. They want to feel appreciated, desired, and understood, not just for what they do, but for who they are. Men tend to hide their emotions, to bury them under a tough exterior, but beneath that facade, they are just as vulnerable and sensitive as anyone else. And when you can reach that part of him, when you make him feel seen and valued for more than just his external achievements, you unlock a desire that no superficial connection could ever create. So, how do you reach those deeper emotions? Starts with really listening, not just hearing the words he says, but understanding what's left unsaid. Men often don't express their emotions as directly as women do, but they show them in other ways, through actions, gestures, and sometimes through silence. Pay attention to how he reacts when he's vulnerable. Notice the subtle shifts in his behavior when he's opening up, even just a little bit. These are the moments where you can step in and deepen the connection. One of the most powerful ways to unlock his hidden emotions is by showing him that you truly understand him. Not just on a surface level, but on a deeper emotional level. Acknowledge his strengths, yes, but also recognize his weaknesses, his fears, and his insecurities. When you do this, you show him that you accept him as a whole person, flaws, vulnerabilities, and all. And when he feels accepted, truly accepted, something magical happens. He lets his guard down. Imagine that you've created a space where he feels safe enough to open up to you about his childhood, his struggles, his dreams, or his deepest fears. This is when the emotional bond begins to form, because in that moment he's not just talking to you. He's sharing a piece of himself that he might not share with anyone else. And that's when the desire deepens, because he feels like he's seen and loved for who he really is, not just for the person he shows the world. But here's the trick. You don't have to fix him, and you don't have to have all the answers. Men often just want to be heard and understood. They don't need someone to tell them how to change or what to do next. They need someone who will listen without judgment and make them feel valued in their rawest, most vulnerable state. This emotional vulnerability doesn't make him weak. It makes him feel more connected to you. And the more connected he feels, the more emotionally invested he becomes. This emotional investment is what transforms attraction into desire. When he feels emotionally tied to you, he doesn't just want to spend time with you. He wants to build something meaningful, something lasting. And let me tell you something incredible. When you unlock these deep emotions, he will start to desire you in ways you never expected. It's not just about how you look or how much time you spend together. It's about the emotional connection you've cultivated and the vulnerability you've both shared. When he feels like he can be real with you, when he feels truly seen and understood, he becomes attached in ways that go far beyond the physical. But here's where it gets even more powerful. By showing him that you understand his deepest desires, you also show him that you can meet those needs. You don't have to fulfill every emotional need he has. But by being the one person who truly gets him, you create a space where he can trust you with his emotions. This trust builds a deeper desire, because he starts to see you as the one person who makes him feel safe, secure, and loved for who he truly is. Now let's look at how you can maintain this emotional connection. The key is to continue nurturing it. Keep showing him that you see him, that you understand him, and that you are there for him emotionally. This doesn't mean smothering him or constantly trying to fix his problems. It means being there to listen, to support, and to provide a space where he can continue to grow and open up. When you unlock his hidden desires, when you tap into those emotions he rarely shows, you create a bond that's not only deep but long-lasting. And this desire, It won't fade with time. It will only grow stronger, because the more you understand him on an emotional level, the more he will crave the connection you've created. Now we arrive at one of the most powerful aspects of building a lasting emotional connection with a man: vulnerability. This is the moment where many women hesitate, afraid that showing vulnerability might make them appear weak or overly dependent. But let me tell you something crucial. Vulnerability is actually the key to deepening emotional intimacy, and it's one of the most magnetic qualities you can bring into a relationship. Think about it. When was the last time you truly let your guard down? When was the last time you shared something deeply personal, something you were afraid to admit, with someone? How did it feel to be truly seen for who you are, flaws and all? There's a power in vulnerability that is often misunderstood, but when you allow yourself to be vulnerable with a man, you create a space for real connection to flourish. Here's the truth. Men crave vulnerability just as much as women do, even if they don't always show it. Beneath the tough exterior, beneath the masks of strength and independence, men also long for emotional intimacy and connection. They want to know that the woman they're with trusts them enough to be open, to share her fears, her hopes, her dreams, and her imperfections. Imagine this. You've created a space where both of you can be real with each other. No pretenses, no facades, just two people sharing their most authentic selves. You're not afraid to express your vulnerabilities, and in return, he begins to feel comfortable doing the same. In these moments, the bond between you deepens, and the desire he feels for you grows stronger. Now let's talk about how you can show vulnerability without feeling exposed or overwhelmed. Vulnerability doesn't mean dumping all of your emotions onto him, or telling him every little thing that's wrong in your life. It's about choosing the right moments to open up and share what matters most to you. It's about being honest about your feelings, whether that's expressing joy, excitement, sadness, or fear. It's about allowing him to see you as a whole person, not just the idealized version of yourself you think he wants. Vulnerability creates trust, and trust is the foundation of all emotional intimacy. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable with him, you show him that you trust him with your heart, with your emotions, and with your deepest thoughts. And when a man feels that kind of trust, he starts to see you differently. He sees you as someone he can be vulnerable with too. This creates a deeper emotional connection, one that goes beyond surface attraction and into something more meaningful and lasting. But here's the twist. Vulnerability is a two-way street. It's not just about you opening up. It's about both of you creating a safe space where emotions can be shared without judgment. It's about creating an environment where both of you feel comfortable being your true selves, without fear of rejection or misunderstanding. When a man sees that you are willing to be open and honest, he will be more likely to open up to you as well. And when he does, something beautiful happens. He starts to feel closer to you, not just because you're physically attracted to him, but because you've built an emotional connection based on trust, understanding, and mutual vulnerability. This is the kind of connection that creates lasting desire, the kind that doesn't fade with time. Here's something to keep in mind. Vulnerability isn't about being weak. It's about being strong enough to show your true self, flaws and all. It's about being comfortable with your own emotions and allowing yourself to experience them fully. And when you do that, you become even more attractive to him, because vulnerability is a rare quality that shows strength, courage, and authenticity. When you allow him to see the real you, the woman behind the smile, the one who has dreams, fears, and imperfections, you create a bond that goes far beyond physical attraction. You make him desire you on a level that is deeply emotional. You tap into something real and lasting, something that can't be easily dismissed or replaced. But there's another aspect to vulnerability that I want to emphasize. It's not just about sharing your weaknesses or fears. It's also about being vulnerable in your strengths, being vulnerable in your achievements, in your goals, in your passion. When you share the things that excite you, the things that drive you, you allow him to see your purpose and your depth. And that is incredibly attractive. A man desires a woman who is passionate, driven, and emotionally alive. When you share these parts of yourself, you make him feel that he is a part of your world. He becomes emotionally invested, not just in your vulnerabilities, but in everything that makes you you. So, how does vulnerability deepen his desire? It's simple. Vulnerability creates an emotional intimacy that no superficial connection can match. It creates a bond that makes him feel like he's part of your journey, part of your life, in a way that is incredibly fulfilling. It's about showing him that you trust him with your heart, and in doing so, you invite him to trust you with his. This emotional exchange is what makes a relationship not only last but thrive. It's what turns a fleeting attraction into deep, lasting desire. And here's the key takeaway. Vulnerability isn't about seeking approval. It's about being comfortable with yourself and trusting him enough to share who you truly are. When you do that, you open the door to a deeper emotional connection, and that connection will make him desire you on a level that is profound, powerful, and impossible to forget. Now that you've learned how to unlock his deepest emotions, create lasting trust, and tap into vulnerability, there's one last thing to focus on: keeping the spark alive. You've built an emotional connection, you've fostered respect, confidence, and vulnerability, and now it's time to nurture that connection so it doesn't fade over time. Relationships, especially deep and meaningful ones, require continuous effort. The initial excitement of new attraction will naturally wear off, but emotional desire doesn't have to disappear with it. The key to maintaining lasting desire lies in your ability to keep growing together, emotionally, mentally, and even physically. So how do you ensure that the bond you've created continues to deepen, that the connection you've built doesn't fade but instead evolves? Starts with consistency. Desire isn't something that just happens once. It's something you cultivate every single day. When you're first building a relationship, it's easy to put in that extra effort to impress, to show him you care, and to keep things exciting. But the true test is in sustaining that effort. The little gestures you've been making, the spontaneous texts, the small surprises, the kind words, they need to continue long after the initial infatuation wears off. The desire to feel loved, respected, and wanted doesn't go away, so you must keep showing up with that same energy and effort every day. But here's the thing. It's not just about doing the same things you've always done. It's about finding new ways to connect. You've learned how to build trust, respect, and vulnerability, but now it's time to continue deepening that emotional intimacy. That means exploring new interests together, discovering things you haven't shared yet, and challenging each other to grow both individually and as a couple. Whether it's traveling together, taking on a new project, or simply spending quality time without distractions, these experiences keep the relationship fresh and exciting. Another key element in keeping the spark alive is physical affection. Physical intimacy doesn't have to always be about sex. It can be as simple as holding hands, hugging, or a soft kiss on the forehead. These small acts of affection not only remind him that you care, but they also reaffirm the emotional connection you've built. Physical touch releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and it strengthens the connection between you. The more physical affection you share, the more emotionally close you'll feel to each other, and the deeper his desire for you will grow. Emotional availability is another important aspect of maintaining desire. It's about staying present with him, emotionally engaged, and available to share your thoughts and feelings. Men, just like women, want to feel that their partner is emotionally present and ready to engage in real, meaningful conversations. You don't have to have the perfect words every time, but simply being there for him, listening, supporting, and offering empathy, keeps the emotional intimacy alive. As time passes, it's also important to celebrate the small victories. The things you've built together, whether it's a shared memory, an inside joke, or an experience that shaped your bond, need to be cherished. When you look back and reflect on the journey you've taken together, it strengthens the connection and makes both of you feel more emotionally invested in the relationship. These shared experiences create a sense of history and belonging, and they help to maintain that deep desire you've worked so hard to create. But here's the most important thing to remember. Desire is not just about physical attraction or romantic gestures. It's about the emotional connection that underpins everything. As long as you continue to nurture the emotional bond you've built, the desire will stay alive. It's the emotional closeness that makes a man crave you, not just in the moments when things are perfect, but through the ups and downs of life. And when he feels that emotional intimacy, it fuels his desire for you, making it something that doesn't fade over time. Here's the real secret. When you keep the emotional connection strong, the physical attraction follows. The desire for each other doesn't just remain. It grows stronger, deeper, and more fulfilling with every passing year. And as long as you both continue to show up for each other, respect each other, and nurture the emotional intimacy you've built, you'll never have to worry about the spark dying. It will stay alive, and it will continue to burn brighter as your bond strengthens. The desire that you've created is not fleeting. It's something that can last a lifetime, evolving with time, growing with the depth of your connection. The key is in continuing to invest in each other, emotionally and physically, and never taking each other for granted. Desire isn't something that's just there or not there. It's something that is nurtured, something that you create and maintain every single day. And when you do this, you'll find that the bond you've built will become something unshakable, a lasting desire that can weather any storm. Now, look at the relationship you've built. You've learned how to unlock a man's deepest emotions, connect on a level that goes beyond physical attraction, and keep that desire alive. This is the foundation of a strong, lasting relationship, one that is emotionally fulfilling, deeply connected, and built to last. It's the kind of relationship that not only survives but thrives over time. And with the right effort, love, and intention, it will continue to grow. Thank you so much for watching this video here on Her Love Blueprint. I hope you found these insights helpful and inspiring in your journey to create deeper, more meaningful connections. Remember, the secrets to lasting emotional desire and connection are not only within reach, they're already inside of you. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these steps do you feel most excited to try in your own relationships? Have you experienced the power of emotional vulnerability or respect in a relationship before? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Let's start a conversation. And if you're enjoying this content, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next videos. We'll be diving even deeper into how to attract and nurture love that lasts. Next time, I'll be talking about how to create a deep emotional connection through communication and how to keep the romance alive even after years of being together. Trust me, you don't want to miss that. I want you to walk away from this video feeling empowered and confident in your ability to build the kind of relationship you deserve. You've got the tools, you've got the knowledge. Now it's time to take action and embrace the love you're meant to experience. Thank you for being here with Her Love Blueprint. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, remember, you are worthy of love that is deep, lasting, and fulfilling. Take care.